Hi first graders, this is just a tutorial to help you with your graphs. When you get the letter from me this week, should be there towards the end of the week, you're going to have 2 of these Scholastic magazines with, just the monthly books for you to choose from. This is the April, so both of them are going to be from April, and you're going to have a note like this that's going to talk about the due date. So for families, I just wrote our class code if you wanted to order online. I will be delivering any books that you order to your houses when I go do my final home porch visit, like I call it. But if you flip this little paper over, it gives you instructions on what to do to fill out this graph, okay, that I made on construction paper and then copied it onto construction paper for you guys, okay? So there's a front side and a back side. The back side's a bar graph, and then the front side has a pictograph and a tally chart, okay? So the instructions are to have you guys look through the Scholastic magazine first, okay? So look through it, and then once you're done looking through it and hopefully placing an order, if you don't, that's fine, but I want you to look through it and then look for books that have something in common. They don't really have to be your favorite books. You want to find books where there's at least like maybe 4 or 5 of the same type of book. And then, of course, you can just find a couple that are maybe your favorite, but there's only like 1 or 2. That's okay, too. So as I look through the books, these little magazines, I found some pretty cool ones. Like I found this one that's about trucks, and I remember, Ethan likes cars and trucks, so I thought of him. I also saw a bunch of books about like animals, like sloths, a bunch of books about cats, and just a lot of fun books, okay? Definitely a lot of books about cats. So once I browsed through the book, I took my scissors and I started cutting books right from the magazine. So like, let's say I wanted to use sports or something, and this one talks about basketball. I just went through and just cut these out just like this, okay? Be very careful with your scissors and be sure there's a grown-up. So cut them out, and then I know that I'm going to be using these in my chart, okay? So once I was done, I just kind of cut some out like this, and then made like a little pile of books, okay? So of cutout books. So here are the ones that I chose, because you're going to need a glue stick or a piece of tape, and you're going to need to organize these books onto your graph, okay? So once I have my books cut out, I'm going to get my pictograph and I'm going to organize my books. I can tell right away that I have a lot of books about cats, and you have to try to find something in common with all these books. So this one's about cats. This is a Pete the Cat book. Here's a book with a cat on it, Lily. To the Rescue has a cat and a dog, and then here's another cat book, and then this is kind of like a mermaid book, okay? So I'm gonna glue those onto that first row, okay? And they all have to have something in common, okay? These are all about cats. And then my next one is gonna be this Mighty Trucks book, and this book about construction trucks. So I'm gonna put that one there. Can you guess what these 2 books have in common? And then my last one is going to be the one I just cut out, the basketball break. I'm going to put that one here, okay? So now my next step, once I glue those on there, my next step is to label what each of these rows, the type of book it is, okay? Something that they all have in common. So if I look, these set of books are all about cats. So I'm going to use my marker or my pencil, whatever you like, to try not to use a permanent marker because we don't want it to go through the back because we have to fill out the back. So I'm going to write that this one is about cats. Okay, so this whole row is about cats. This one is about, if you guessed trucks earlier, you were right. Trucks. Okay, so I'm going to write trucks. And then this bottom is about sports. Okay, these books are about sports. Okay, and if you found more books of the same type, like more books about sports or more books about trucks, more books about cats, feel free to fill it in. You don't have to just use 2 or 1, okay? Just want to make sure that they fit, so you have to just glue them all on there, okay? Once I'm done labeling my row to match the type of book that I put here, the books, I'm going to add a tally for each number of books that I added. So Splat the Cat is 1, okay? Beat the Cat is another. Lily, To the Rescue is another. The Itty Bitty Princess Kitty, that's another. and then I have a per-made cat book. So remember, when we make tallies, we draw 4 lines, and if we have a 5th one, we need. When you get to 5, draw a line through the first 4 tally marks. To draw like a line that's kind of like a forward slash, that's kind of like falling. That means that there's 5, okay? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And then once we're done with the tallies, we want to write the total, the actual number at the end. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing for trucks. 1, 2, 1, 2, only 2 tally marks, and the number 2. Okay, over here, only 1 tally. We only have 1 basketball book and 1 total. Okay, so once we filled out all this data and pretend that these are all glued on, we're going to flip our pictograph to the back, and we're going to fill in this data, okay, into our bar graph. Okay, so in the bar graph, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to number the bar graph. Okay, so we're going to start with the number 1, and then we're going to go up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Think of how many books we had. The highest number for me, it was 5, so I could have gone to just 5, but I just did a couple more to show you. Okay, and then down here is where we add the labels that match from the front side. So my labels are cats, trucks, and sports. So I'm going to use those here. The first one was cats. Okay, so I'm writing that there. I'm not going to come up with new ones, new labels. The next one is trucks. So I'm going to write that here. Trucks. And the last one was sports. So I'm going to write that here. Okay, sports. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the data from the front side to go up. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. In cats, I had 5 books, so I'm going to count and go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm going to basically put a line there on the top of the 5. Okay, and then I'm going to fill in those bars. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can color the whole thing in or color the row, doesn't matter, but it has to go up to the 5. Now for trucks, there were 2 books. So I like it when you use crayons or something a little bit different color so that you can see the difference. For trucks, remember, we only had 2. So I'm going to use my blue marker, and I'm just going to color up to 1, 2. Okay, so I can fill in those 2 boxes, and then I'm going to color that in 1 and 2. And then for the the sports, I only had 1 book on the front. So here, how many lines do you think I'm going to go up? Right, just 1. So just to that 1 there, okay? And then I'm going to color that in. So this backside, it's a good habit to write the totals on the tops. Should match the data that we had on the front side, okay? And then what's going to be the title of your bar graph? So what's here? I'm going to write my Scholastic books. Okay, and then here, don't forget to write your name. Okay, and I would love to see a picture of your completed bar graph when you're done. Okay, and a picture of the front and the back. And this is one of my favorite graphing activities because you guys get to actually, have fun putting all these Scholastic books together. And sometimes my kids just kind of pick their favorite books. They cut out a bunch of their favorites, and then once you're done cutting up all the books, then you decide which ones have something in common, so that you could do that too. Just cut up as many as you can. Remember to look on the front and back side of the magazines, because sometimes if you cut the front, you might be cutting a piece of the back, which is why I sent you 2 magazines. So have a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see these when you're done.